Hey, it's been, I don't know, a week or two since I have released a podcast. I guess maybe even a little longer than that. Because I have been so busy with launching a course. And let me just tell you a little bit about that because it's super exciting. And then today we're going to talk about in person networking. My dear friend Chelsea and we met a while back. We were actually part of another network marketing company together. We each knew of each other but had never met in person. And turns out we both moved to the same town, San Antonio, Texas, in 2020. Um, at some point, thereafter, we actually both left that network marketing company and joined others, found success there. And then eventually she messaged me on Instagram. I was like, hey, I think we live next to each other. Let's meet up. And the rest is history. We became fast friends. We have insane amounts of stuff in common, which is so fun. I mean, not only like network marketing, but her husband was in the army and just retired. I obviously was in the army and just retired. So just so many weird, like quirky things that we have in common. So it's been a great friendship. But we were hanging out and constantly just talking about things that we didn't like about network marketing. And we realized that there was a gap. There was a gap in knowledge, and so many people were coming to us either from our teams or, people that follow us on social media and looking for specific advice. And so we kind of thought, what if instead of having to like hire an expensive coach or join some crazy mastermind or go through 100 different courses to get the mentorship and the network marketing advice that you're looking for, what if we came up with a course that put all of the advice into one audio course? And so that's what we've been doing. So we've been recording like crazy, which has been so much fun. And basically we created a course that is almost like an encyclopedia. Although, like, the young kids don't even know what that is these days. I joke. I mean, hopefully they know. Anyways, we've created like an encyclopedia of network marketing knowledge. So, for example, if you have trouble with follow-up, you go to this audio course and you play the chapter that has to do with follow-up. If you are dealing with fear of being seen online and you're frustrated because you don't know how to get over that, you go to the chapter that deals with that. So you could listen to the course all the way through. We're not done recording it, but there will be 26 modules, bonuses, all sorts of good stuff, mindset exercises, like you name it. So many good things. This is the course that we wished we would have had when we started network marketing. But anyways, I digress. So we've been so focused on launching that course. We pre-launched it, and then to anyone who purchased when we launched it, we didn't have the modules already. We put everybody into a group coaching group and have been doing live coaching once a week. And that has been so much fun. I tell you, I got away from coaching people outside of my team for a while just because the last year has been a little bit nuts for me personally. And I didn't realize how much I missed it. Oh my God, I missed it so much. So that has been great. If you're interested in grabbing the course, you're welcome to. I'll put the link in the show notes. But that's what we've been doing, which is why I haven't been doing many podcasts. But I got a couple requests to do some content on in-person networking events. Now, I moved here to San Antonio in 2020 in the middle of like everything being shut down and nobody, people hanging out on their driveways and porches and all that kind of stuff, right? Seems like a million years ago, but it wasn't that long ago. And I was working from home for almost 2 years, like crazy hours, and quite honestly didn't do a whole lot of really socializing or meeting anybody at all for a number of reasons. Nobody was really doing much socializing. But then working so hard and going through different fertility treatments, renovating a house, like didn't have a whole lot of time for socializing. And so I didn't really meet anyone. I met a couple neighbors, but that's about it. Now, I did know some people from before when I I lived here in San Antonio about 10 years ago, and I knew some random kind of Army colleagues, but overall, I didn't have a huge network, and I still don't have a huge network. And so now that things are really back to somewhat normal-ish, people are doing networking events, people are meeting up, they're throwing, conferences and things like that. I have made it a very big goal to build a local team. and to just expand my network. Those two things definitely overlap, but the one thing that they have in common is that they require me to get out and meet people. And so I'm like, okay, well, I'm an introvert. To be honest, I like being at home. I love traveling. I love doing things. But at the end of the day, like, I love just cuddling up on my couch with my husband and my dogs, cooking, sharing a bottle of wine, doing the things that we love, having our close friends over. And I know so many of you can relate. So how do you meet people as an adult who, isn't at school or an office or places where you naturally would meet people? Here is what I'm doing, what has worked so far, and I'm going to go through a ton of recommendations on what I've learned. So, how do you find networking events? I have been looking, I just started to Google stuff, right? Super easy. Google stuff, look on Instagram. I follow a lot of local Instagram accounts. Now, I got it. If you're listening to this and you're like, yeah, but Sarai, I live in a super small town. Okay, got it. Maybe some of this doesn't apply to you. But in general, there are online events that you can find or events advertised online, for any size town. So the first place that is so great to find is Eventbrite. The second is Meetup. I'll put all of these in the notes so you don't have to necessarily take notes if you're driving or doing something else. But Eventbrite and Meetup, meetup.org, are two great places. So I found a bunch of places there, a bunch of different networking events. I found a San Antonio business women networking group, which is great. If you have like a local paper, sometimes there's things there. A lot of times there'll be like a local weekly kind of culture paper. You can also search local hashtags. I follow on Instagram a ton of local hashtags. And so every once in a while, something will pop up with like my town's hashtag or a specific local business hashtag. And then, of course, word of mouth, maybe coworkers or neighbors or something know. But it's actually pretty easy to find things online. You may, if you live way out in the sticks somewhere, you may have to drive a little bit, but most people have something in their town. There's some sort of group, etc. Okay, so once you find a group, then it's a matter of just signing up and committing and saying, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to at least one event. You can either sign up for a specific networking event where the goal is for you to meet other business people, or you can go to things like actually this Saturday, I haven't gone yet, but I'm going to a local dog mom meetup. It's at a local restaurant that kind of has a dog-friendly yard, and it's a specific event for women to bring their dogs and then meet other women, which I think is really cool. And I have been signing up for all sorts of things. So I think I've gone to 4 events so far, and I actually also hosted an event, which I'll tell you about in a little bit as well. I have no expectations about any of these. I'm just going to see what happens and to make connections. I am not going to overtly pitch my business to anybody, and I'll get into all the details of how I've done this, but I just go with really no expectations. So I decide to go, I sign up. Some of them have fees, some of them don't. I would say that the ones that have fees are better quality because they're going to root out the people that are just kind of freebie seeking, the people who don't have any real skin in the game. But I did go to free ones too. And you kind of don't really ever know what you're going to get. So here is what I decided on each of these. I decided that I was going to have a great attitude and zero expectations. I was just going to go to focus on connecting with people. That is it. Now, I know from kind of pre-pandemic networking events that there are some things that I wanted to have with me. I wanted to have a way that people could reach out to me, either a business card or a digital business card. I'll talk about that in just a second too. I wanted to have something to talk about, and I wanted to be able to follow up with the people that I met. Because here's the thing. Everybody who goes there to these networking events typically is a business owner. What is a business owner going there for? To create business for their own business. In other words, they're going to these things for their own selfish reasons. It's kind of like social media, right? We're on social media for gaining things for us. So As a smart business owner, what if you approach it like, hey, I want to meet as many people as I can. And instead of trying to pitch them my business, what if I just find out everything I can about them in the meantime, right? This is just smart like sales techniques. This is smart getting to know you. This is smart networking. It's smart on social media. Like it's just a smart tactic about how can you get the other person to tell you about them? And you can, of course, keep your ears open, to see if there's something you could collaborate on. But I'm not going to pitch anyone on the first date. And these are all, to me, first dates, right? I just want to meet people. I just want to learn about people. So what did I bring? I brought physical business cards. But let's be honest, physical business cards kind of suck because nobody does anything with them. They sit in a stack in their desk drawer or they get tossed when they get home. Like that's it, right? So I wanted an additional way to not only connect with people digitally, but also to get their information. I don't want to necessarily just hand out my business cards. In fact, quite honestly, I could go to a networking event and not hand out any business cards. You're like, what? I don't really care because the other person likely isn't going to contact me anyway. Like how many times have you grabbed a business card from someone and then never reached out? But I know that if I get your business card, now I have the ability to reach out to you and I know that I'm going to follow up. So my business card is quite frankly irrelevant. I want to get your information. I want to get the other person's information. So I brought a stack of business cards and I brought a digital business card. Now, I've tried 3 different digital business cards. You're like, what is that? I've tried so many ways to connect with people and network, and this is what I'm loving right now. It's a brand called Popl. I'll put the link in the notes. I actually just became an affiliate for them because I love them so much, and I've been telling everybody for the last month about them. So you're welcome to get 20% off if you want to sign up for their stuff. But either way, I think there's a free version too. Either way, it's an amazing company. So you sign up for an account, you create a little digital business card. It's just on a QR code. Everybody knows how to use a QR code now. So when I connect with someone, I go, hey, let's trade information. I'd love to stay in contact with you. And I have them pull out their phone and scan my little QR code, my little digital business card, and up pops all my stuff. And then they can save me as a contact. However, this still doesn't solve the problem of I want their info, right? I want their info. And some people actually had digital business cards, so I got their info. But the reason why I landed on using this particular digital business card is because with the paid plan, I think it's like $8 a month. With the paid plan, you get like a little lead contact form. So when the person scans my card, it pops up a little thing that says, hey, like now that you have Soraya's information, give her yours. And it gives them a little way to type in their name and email address and phone number. And then I put in an optional form for your Instagram handle. And everybody that I gave that to filled it out. Like I'm sitting there standing there. It's kind of like, I'm like, hey, give me your information. I'd love to connect with you as well. And they fill out the little form because I'm standing right there. It would be awkward if they would be like, no, I don't want to. There's no reason not to want to fill it out. So they fill it out. It takes 2 seconds. And then sometimes someone was, they would follow it up by also handing me their business card. I go into all this detail because that is what I want. I want their info in my phone. And I also want to connect with as many people as possible. So there's a couple ways to do that. Again, you could physically take everybody's business cards and then you go home and then you upload them all into whatever, you use to track who you connect with, or you write it all down or put it all in your phone, whatever that system is for you. Or with this system, it already is done. And by the time I get home, I've got a little spreadsheet already filled out with everybody's stuff. Now you can either go down that spreadsheet by itself. You can import that into a CRM if you use a CRM, or you can just put it in, on your whiteboard or whatever it is. But those are your leads. You put them into your system and now you have a way to follow up with those people. So that's why I'm just obsessed with this whole digital business card, because it saves me so much time. If you meet 20 people at a networking event, I sure don't want to sit down and have to manually type in 20 people's business card information. So that's what I used. So again, you can find the link to the company that I use below. I'm obsessed with the little paid plan, but even the free plan is just great. So you bring that to a networking event. Now, how do you approach people at these events? Well, I think it's really important to first understand that everyone there is there to promote their own business, like I said, and everybody there is kind of nervous. Like maybe someone isn't, but for the most part, you can just assume that everybody is a little awkward, a little nervous. It's like a first date type vibe where they're like, hi, what's your name? What do you do? Blah, 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 kind of generic questions. So it's up to you, even if you're nervous, to overcome that shyness. I actually sometimes use that as an opening line. And I just kind of say like, hey, isn't this super awkward? Hi, I'm Soraya. How are you? What's your name? Or, crack some joke about how, wow, this seems like a weird dating event. Or, just something to kind of break the ice. Or, oh my God, a compliment always works. I love your hair. Your hair's so beautiful. Or, wow, that's a gorgeous dress. So nice to meet you. What's your name? Things like that. So you just have to like bite the bullet, be the first person. It does not matter if you're not an extrovert. I'm not an extrovert. Yes, I can make conversation. Yes, I'm good at talking to people, but I still have to work at it. Everybody usually does. So, okay. When you approach someone, I would recommend a couple things. Number one, have a couple openers. Feel free to steal those. Maybe there's something different that you'd like to talk about. I wouldn't recommend going, hi, my name's Soraya. I work for, and then talk about your network marketing company. I wouldn't recommend that. I would just recommend introducing yourself and then asking questions about the other person, right? Remember that they're there to promote their business. And a lot of times if I just ask them what they do and questions about their business and genuinely show an interest, a lot of times I'll get them talking for 3-4 minutes before they even think to ask me anything. And by that time, I've already figured out, maybe there's something I can help them with down the road. Maybe we've got friends in common. Maybe we have something in common that we can talk about through business or travel or anything like that. So again, my goal is just to listen and take as many mental notes as possible about them, their business, their needs, and the person, right? Is this person a potential prospect? And I'm not doing this, again, like I'm not a prospecting robot. I genuinely want to make connections. You never know. I might make friends. I might, who knows? But I also have in the back of my mind, is this someone, the type of person that I would like to work with? Is this someone who could use my help? Is this someone who might need my products? Is this someone who may be able to use an extra stream of income? Where are they in their business journey? Are they just starting out? Because a lot of the people that are at these networking events are just starting out in business as well. Although in many of the ones that I've been to, there's been kind of a whole array. So I listen for all of those things. I just make it authentic. I don't, vomit my business all over everyone. I don't pitch anything like that. And that's what I feel comfortable with. So my goal is to make as many connections and gain as many contacts as possible. I'll tell you, I also, on the way out of the last event that I was at, I think like 2 weeks ago, there was a table of business cards and a ton of people I didn't get to meet. And so I just grabbed everybody's business card and then followed up with them a couple days later and just said, hey, my name's Soraya. I missed you at the event the other night. I'm so sorry, but I did grab your business card. I wanted to connect. A lot of times I'll follow them on Instagram or wherever they kind of live, sometimes Facebook, etc. So hell, you don't even have to have conversations to connect with people at these events. It's like the cheater way. Okay, so we already talked about you get their info and then the reach out is on you. You have to do the reach out. If you go to an event like this and then you don't follow up with these people, you have wasted your time. You have straight up wasted your time and nothing will come of it. If you don't reach out and follow up, you have wasted your time. I'm going to say that again because it is so important. You can't go to these events and then just let the connections fizzle and hope that you might meet these people again. Imagine if this was a date, right? If it's someone you want to keep in contact with, then you've got to reach back out and make an effort, at least start a conversation, et cetera, et cetera. So, kind of a cheesy analogy with the date, but it really is true. You've got to do what you need to do to make that connection and sustain, foster that relationship building. Okay. How important is your personal appearance? Here is the approach that I took. And obviously it depends on where you live and what time of year, et cetera, et cetera. I don't like to dress too formally. If I show up in like a power suit, first of all, that's just not who I am. Second of all, I work from home in my freaking leggings. Like I'm not dressing up in a power suit. Even if it's appropriate for the event space, I'm going to try to portray my personality. I think it's really fun to wear something interesting. Like maybe you want to wear a bright piece of clothing or a really striking necklace or something that will give you a little bit of differentiation from the crowd. Like don't just show up wearing, black shirt, black pants and, like just you're going to fade into the crowd. So I actually have started to wear some like an interesting very colorful like kimono over a cute pair of jeans or something like something that's eye-catching. I want something to be a conversation starter. I don't want to look like a clown, but I also don't want to blend into the crowd. So I wore a really cool necklace. Like obviously you guys know this, I rep a shampoo company, so I wanted my hair to look great because that's a conversation piece in and of itself. So whatever that is for you, I don't necessarily recommend wearing like a branded piece of gear, although certainly don't be embarrassed about it. If you want to rock that, by all means rock that. But I think that really starting a conversation can be easy with a piece of clothing. So maybe oh gosh, I don't know. Maybe instead of like a branded piece of gear from your company, maybe you wear a necklace that you talk about, and maybe the story is that you bought your necklace on a cruise that you earned last year, and that's a gateway to talk about kind of what you do. Like think about stuff like that. I'm not telling you not to wear your company gear, but a lot of times people will just move on and it's kind of white noise to them. Like it doesn't register exactly what you do. That logo may mean something to you and you're really proud of it and you should be. But to people who aren't familiar with your company, it's you that's helping them. It's not like your corporate company that's helping them. So sometimes that logo can be maybe a little bit distracting. Anyways, don't be too formal, but again, not too casual, something in the middle depending on what the appropriateness of the event is. I went to a brunch networking event where, everybody was kind of dressed up a little bit on a Sunday because it was Sunday brunch. So I wore, a long sundress and a cool hat, like, just, interesting things, right? Scope out the pictures of previous events if that's available to you either on the event page or maybe there's an Instagram page connected to that and you can kind of see what the vibe is. I am so glad that I started going to these in-person events. Number one, it's always helpful to get out of your comfort zone. That's just so important in business because if we keep doing the same thing, then we're going to get the same results. And if you're happy with those results, fantastic. But if you're not happy with those results and you want to grow your business at a faster rate, then meeting people is the key, whether that be online or in person. And I think that in-person connections are so, so great. So some of these events, and I'm just kind of talking through some details now. Some of these events like have giveaways and stuff like that. I haven't done any of those. I don't find that those are helpful personally. If you have, great, but I just don't think that they're helpful because if you're going to give something away, like I want it to be appropriate for the person. I actually won a piece of jewelry at one of these events and it was not my taste and it's something I would never wear and I don't value that. And I felt really bad because I wanted to like give it back to the lady who put it up in the raffle because I'm never going to wear it and it's not going to convert for her. She's giving this stuff away thinking that I will convert to be a customer, but that's never going to happen because it's not my style. So I think if you have the opportunity to donate something, if you want to do it out of the kindness of your heart, great. But 9 times out of 10, those are not going to convert. Now, there are opportunities at some of these events to like sign up as to like have a table or something like that. And here's what I would tell you, depending on the event and who the audience is, all of those people are business people. I would personally talk about the business opportunity Because those people are all there to make money. Let's be honest, right? Yeah, I'm sure they could all use your products as well. But if it's a business oriented thing, I'm going to talk about business, and I'm going to have an income disclosure form there. And I'm going to have, some stories, whether they be my stories or stories of my upline or whatever, about how, Sally Joe is a teacher and has made enough income that now she's deciding if she even wants to be a teacher anymore. Or, Martha had a craft business and started this business on the side as an extra stream of income, and now she's able to pay her entire mortgage with it, et cetera, et cetera. So I would have those stories memorized. You should in your business anyway. But those people are there for money. Like, that's what they're there for. They want to network, not because they're kind people. They may be kind people, but they're there to grow their businesses. So I think that's important to keep in mind. But I personally have not done any tables or giveaways or anything. I just don't think that that's super helpful. I would rather get the people's information and just follow up. Now, okay, what do I say in the follow-up? I would connect with them, on social media, email, whatever it is that you guys discussed and what you traded information on. And I would say, it was so great to connect with you tonight. Maybe you reference something you had in common. Like, oh, I loved how we both, it's so nice to meet someone else who loves XYZ restaurant or whatever. Oh, by the way, I don't know if we connected on Instagram, but I hang out there all the time. It'd be great to connect with you there if you hang out there too. Now, here's what I want. I want someone to start following me on Instagram because that's where I hang out. If that's TikTok for you, whatever that is for you, substitute that. Facebook, whatever. I want them to see my stories. I want them to get to know me. I want them to see my offers. I want them to start to get to know me. And social media is such an easy way to do that. Like, obviously we can connect over email, but I'm not going to sit there and be a pen pal to them every week, right? I want to connect on social media so they can start to become part of my world. They can start to see my customer testimonials, my business partner testimonials, things like that. And so I want to get them to my Instagram. That's really my goal in doing that kind of follow-up. Of course, if someone wanted more information about my business or my products, I'm certainly going to give that to them. And that did happen at almost every single one of these events. And so, I'd say, hey, you had mentioned that you wanted more info about XYZ. If you're still interested, here it is. Take a look at it. I'd love to follow up with you tomorrow or whatever, right? And you can go from there. And then if that leads to a sale, fantastic. If that leads to a new business partner, fantastic. But ultimately, at a minimum, I just want them to follow me on social media so they can start to get to know me. So then if we do have more conversations, or even better, if we see each other in the future, they know all about me. They know my dogs. They know what I'm doing. They know what my house looks like. They know, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's the beauty of getting people on your social. So can you get people to follow you on your social during the event? Absolutely. It's up to you. So totally up to you. But if they didn't already, I'm definitely going to follow up and tell them, hey, follow me over on Instagram. That's really where I hang out all the time. Okay. I think just kind of looking at I wrote down a lot of tips of what I've learned. I think that it's one of those things that these networking events don't necessarily pay off the day you do them or the day you attend or even the week after, but building a network takes time. It really does take time. It's helpful to start to be known in your community, however big or small that is, because you never know when someone may not be a good business partner for you, but they might know somebody who's a good business partner for you. Or they might not be ready to try your products now, but they remember that you're the one person that talked to them about this thing, and they have your information and you have followed up with them over the course of the past year. So when they are ready, they know that you're the person they're going to go to. So I hope that this has given you a ton of information about networking events. My last piece of advice is just have zero expectations. Go in with a great attitude, get ready to meet some people. I will be honest, some of these networking events are painful. Let me just say that. There was one, most of them are delightful, but I went to one that was absolutely just torturous. The people who ran it did not do a great job of streamlining the event, and there were too many speakers, and there was lots of singing. It was very weird. The lady had a lovely voice. It wasn't her singing that was bad. It was just I don't know why I'm sitting here listening to a singing concert when I should be networking. So for that event, I was just hey, once the singing stopped, I started just meeting people. I was like, oh God, is this not the most awkward networking event ever? And that's what I used to break the ice. So even if it's not the greatest event, you can still turn it into a fantastic way to meet people. You never know when one of those connections is going to totally transform your business. You could be just one person away from absolutely skyrocketing your paycheck. So it's definitely worth it to keep on going and to make these a priority. The more you put yourself out there, the more that you'll get ideas and be inspired and make amazing connections and, just overall be a part of your community, which is, I think, the networking part of network marketing that we often miss. So I hope that this is helpful. I've got a lot of stuff in the show notes, links to the digital business card, the course that we just launched, and a whole lot more. So go to the show notes, and I will see you on the next podcast. Bye.